Всем привет.
1, 2, 3. Hi everyone, thanks for coming. And I'd like to discuss API keys storage issues and what happens if they are compromised. My name is Ilsaf, and I'm a pen tester for InnoStage, and I have a Hello SOC Telegram channel. Let me start with what API is. It is a set of methods and functions, procedures that an application provides to other applications or to the user. You can see a request to the time endpoint. It's a useless method for a hacker. But let's imagine you are using the crypto stock exchange API that allows you to buy, sell your bitcoins. So to identify and authentify your API request, there are API keys, right? They allow you to only run some actions if it's you. They are usually random generated, but not always. API keys generation is a separate topic. You should treat them as carefully and store them as safely in a safe storages, and of course you should not share them with anyone. Some rules is not to store them in the open form, not to put them in the source code, and of course not publicize them. Some of you would think that I have a closed code. I can put API keys anywhere in my code and it will not be accessible. This is safe, and the keys access is only with my developers. But let's discuss the Twitch hack, when they took the source code, payment information, and API keys. Some researchers found that more than 6,000 keys were stored in an open form in the source code. Thousands of them were to AWS. And of course, if you ask AWS for documentation, you find hundreds of methods that allow you to delete something. And AWS is not free, so you can find stuff like this. On the left, you see an attempt to deduct $24,000 for AWS services. On the right, you see a screenshot from research checking about what the researchers will do after your key is compromised. And they found that in a minute after your key is lost, the most expensive instances were launched to drain your wallet. How sure are you that your DevOps or your system administrator will not leave the Git folder open that will enable you to find the source code of the previous commit? And of course, it might have your keys. If you use Google Docs, you can find at least 30,000 results for the sites with the Git folder open. And of course, they are not only just beginners sites, but quite big ones for big companies, foreign companies. I'm not asking you to do anything, just a fact. So what about open keys on the GitHub? And let's do it like this. API key, 5 million results. Of course, not all of them are keys. There are methods, variables, comments. But among the first results, you would see valid keys. And the first thought is that the hacker has when he sees it is like, okay, let's gather those keys and try to use them. So within an hour, I was able to find more than 500 of those keys. Of course, I decided not to test their validity. a minute of humor. And I decided to check how fast will my keys be compromised if I put them on GitHub. I used two keys that I generated using canary token, and one was left in the commit story history and removed it, and one was left in config. Within 2 days, I found more than 50 attempts to try to use my key. The first one was quite fast in coming. The question to you is, how much time did it pass after I got my first key used? 15 minutes? 5 minutes? Raise your hands. 1 minute, raise your hand. Yes, it was 1 minute, really. So now let's find out what the actors do after compromising the keys. They purchase the most expensive services. So to compromise, also 1 minute, to compromise your key and purchase the most expensive service, it's like 2 minutes. So how do you fight with this? How do you avoid key leakage? 3 methods. First is programmer's level. You should not allow your developers to put the keys in your repo. And you should fight this on the upload stage. Second, code deployment. You can cut it, find it during the deployment as part of your pipeline. And third thing is how you store the keys. You should never store them in any open way. You should use some storage methods. And on the storage methods, you can use HashiCorp, and of course you need to encrypt them. The cryptography issue is important. You should not create your own crypto methods. You should not Google on how can I do it on Stack Overflow, because it will advise you some AS64 something not very good. It could also advise you to use the environment variable. But how would you share your keys if you have more than one developer? You need to do it somehow. Should you send them an open text via email? How sure are you that this developer will store them in the same safe and secure way? So how do you manage manually? How do you manage the keys? You will have to somehow put your keys on a production server, deploy them. How do you protect them if they are plain text? The file that stores the environment variables is just a plain text file that stores them. So if your web server is compromised, the actor can read your keys and get access to AWS, for example. There are some ways to fight it, to prevent the leaks on the levels that I mentioned. First, and very famous, is Git Guardian. It helps you find the leaks both on the programmer level and on the code level. It searches your commits and searches them for the keys. Then Git Secret is a good thing for small teams. If you have to upload the keys, but you want to do it not in the plain text mode, but encoded keys, then it allows you to encode the keys for each and every developer, and also encrypt the source code. Docker secrets for your containerized applications in Docker. AWS Secret Manager for AWS. quite obvious. And among the best solutions is a safe storage hash epoch for your keys. With that, I'd like to conclude. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Who has questions? Whom should I give the mic? Yep. Here you go. So among those two API keys that you put in GitHub, one in the commit history and one in the code, the first one was found in the code, I think, and the one in the history, how fast was it found? No, I don't remember the exact time, but it's like within the first 10 minutes. So commit history is pretty much as unsafe. Any other questions?